What's going on, Facebook fam? It has been a while. I think it's been about 3 months since I recorded a video. So I haven't been a very good family member. Haven't been checking in, but hope everyone has been doing well. Enjoying the start to your summer. I've been having a lot of fun going to the reservoir, doing some off-roading, camping trips, and doing sparring in armored combat, which has definitely been interesting. I've never fought before. Never really been in a conflict before, and I didn't realize how much effort it actually takes to fight. So that has been definitely a learning lesson and a curve, but looking forward to continue into that. I don't have a date set for my first fight. Probably maybe sometime in the fall, but I have a lot of working out to do before I can even consider it, because the armor is like 100 pounds, and even without armor, I am maybe good for a minute and a half of sparring. We have helmets that are similar to what you would actually wear in an armored combat fight. Actually, I have it here. Didn't need to buy it, but it looked too cool, so why not? But as you can see, like, just really small holes, so you can't see, you can't hear, and worst of all, you can't breathe. It's hard to get air in and out of here, to get fresh air. So that has been a huge challenge, just huge effort, but looking forward to getting better. Also got a puppy. You've probably seen my videos or stories or whatever. Her name's Kiara. She is about 8 months old, and bless Mowgli for dealing with her. Mowgli is 10, and she is a little Tyrannosaurus Rex. Just loves to bite his ankles. So, love you, Mowgli. Sorry to do that to you. Thankfully, you're not too old yet. But anyway, I wanted to take a moment here and record one of these videos again that's going to talk about what's going on in the market. We are seeing a much different market than we have in years past. It is definitely different than it was last year as well. Definitely overall better for sellers than what it was last year. But still pretty tough market to try to sell. And we'll dive into the data as to why. And that really, I'm also using a new video software, so hopefully this works. But if we were to look at, so here's our graphs. We got blue is Fort Collins, red is Loveland, yellow is Greeley, our three main cities up here in northern Colorado. If we look at the homes for sale, we have in Fort Collins 30% more homes for sale than we did last year. In Loveland, almost 60%. Same with Greeley. So we have, like, our inventory, our listing inventory is so much higher than it has been, especially last year. But like overall, buyers have way more options to pick from. And if we go to new listings, so new listings hitting the market, this usually follows the seasonal, where our low is in January. No one's listing their home in January. Most people are listing their homes in June, July. So we can expect, if it's going to follow what historically it has, we can expect this to even go higher. And we're already, we have 16% more new listings counting the market in Fort Collins, Loveland, and Greeley. Nearly 20% more new listings hitting the market. And that's crazy. That's just a lot of inventory that we're not used to seeing here. And where it gets really interesting is if we go to under contracts. So last year was a 29-year low for number of transactions here in northern Colorado, but also nationwide. Just a lot of people were buying homes, and it makes sense. We had high interest rates; they really haven't changed much, but also a election year, which always causes people to be hesitant, because they want to kind of see what the hell's going on and what's going to happen in the future, so they don't want to buy a house. So we are seeing slightly more homes, about 10% going under contract, but that's only 10% more than what it was last year, which was our, like I said, 29-year low. If we back this out, and we go to under contract, this is where we are now. But if we look at like all these other times in the past, we are higher than the last 2 years. But then we compare to all of these, we are low. We are very low on homes going under contract. And if we do the same thing for closed sales, so not every house that goes under contract closes, our closings are up about 7.5%. Greeley, it's actually down almost 6%. Loveland, a little bit better than last year, but nothing really to write home about. But look at where we compare to other years. So homes are just not selling. But we have a lot of homes available for sale, right? So then it comes into the question of, okay, well, if there's a lot of homes for sale, not a lot of buyers, if we follow basic supply and demand, that would mean that prices are decreasing, right? No, they're not. So now this is only looking at homes that sell, right? So homes that sell, the price is still going up. It's nothing crazy. I would say, like, overall, if we take a good look at this, it's relatively flat, but prices have remained steady or slightly increased. Loveland, we did see almost 2% drop. Loveland right now as a market is just kind of hurting. There's a lot of houses for sale and not a lot of buyers, and they're just getting hit more with prices softening. Now, one thing this doesn't take into account, though, is something called concessions. And we are seeing concessions like almost with every transaction at this point. And that's when a seller will actually give the buyer money at closing. And this can be used for repairs. This can be used for interest rate buy down. It could be used for covering closing costs. Those numbers aren't included in here. So really, we are actually, if we take that into account, chances are, most likely, again, I don't have this data, so this is somewhat of an assumption, but these numbers would go down. Fort Collins would still probably be about the same price as it was last year. Loveland would go down, Greeley would go down. So we are seeing price in the market soften, but we're not necessarily seeing like a market crash where prices are just plummeting. So if we were to look at percent of original list price compared to sale price, actually doing better than what I would have thought. So of the homes that are selling, Fort Collins, you're getting 100% of list price. Loveland, only slightly less than list price. And Greeley, again, slightly less. Again, we don't have very many houses going or selling, and we have a lot of houses available, but those that are selling for about list price. And so what does this mean for you? Well, as a seller, obviously this is not the market that you want to be selling in, right? You want this crazy time where you're 5% over list price, but that's reliant on interest rates that we're probably never going to see again. So to be a seller or to sell your house successfully, it comes down to really just a few key ingredients. And they seem pretty self-explanatory, but oftentimes they're, ignored. So one, your house has to be priced right. You can't be overpriced. You can't be testing the market, because if your house is overpriced, buyers have like 3 other options that are probably priced well that they'll just go look at instead. Why would they spend the extra money on your house? The supply is there. So it needs to be priced right. It also needs to show well. You can't put a house on the market with, that's just like with dirty photos. The house hasn't been staged, hasn't been cleaned. Agents aren't doing open houses. Like, the house has to show really, really well and be priced really, really well for buyers to jump on it. And those listings, we are seeing sometimes some competitive situations. Even our buyers, if it's a house that they're interested in compared to the others that are available, chances are other buyers are also interested in it. And there have been some multiple offer scenarios despite the market kind of looking the way it is. It's very buyer favored. Now for buyers, oh my this is like, what a good time to go buy a house. Um, you got so many options and not a lot of competition trying to buy those houses. My personal favorite, you know, I am not, I'm the kind of guy that tries to find a really good deal. So if you find a house that works for you and it's been on the market for a while, sellers getting pretty motivated, you can come in definitely lower than asking price. Sometimes even get concessions. Like I had a buyer who recently closed on a new build, different than resale, but on a new build. And even new builders are trying to get rid of their inventory. So they sold her the house $40,000 under its original list price. So every single upgrade that she got in that house was free. She paid base and got all these upgrades for free. But better yet, the builder paid $40,000 towards their interest rate. So she has a 30-year 3.75% conventional mortgage, which is just like mind blowing, right? Like those are COVID numbers. And I just said we're not going to see those interest rates, but in new builds, you can kind of get it. You can get a house for cheap in terms of like list price. You can get it on a discount, instant equity. Plus, you can lower your monthly payments like crazy, so your buying power is significantly higher than it would be if you were using like a typical, you know, I think current rates right now are like 6.85. So she did excellent. Now that being said, I personally, I like resale. I just like older houses. They have more character. Usually you can put some sweat equity in over time while you live there. So if you go to sell it, so you can make some money, or if you want to rent it, you know, you can make it more rentable, have features that renters want. So I guess all that being said, we're seeing a lot of houses that are just sitting, and sellers do need to move. Maybe not all of them, but most of them, especially if a house is vacant, they need to move. And if they're not getting any traction, we're starting to see sellers actually make offers to buyers like, hey, buyer, I have it listed at 300,000. Would you be interested in a purchase price of 290? Right. So the seller already went down 10K. And that's kind of where you come in and say, seller, I really appreciate that. 290 sounds great. But I also, you know, the interest rate is just too high. I'm not comfortable with it. Add that with the HOA. I'm also going to want 10,000 in concessions for the interest rate buy down so I can have a better monthly payment. Not every seller is going to go for it, but quite a few will. And you basically had the seller pay down your interest rate, and also you reduce the purchase price. So overall, you're paying less for the house. In a couple years, assuming rate environment improves, you can refinance and be in a much better situation than someone who waited for those good interest rates, but we saw prices kind of steadily increase, or in this case, maybe they don't steadily increase. There is not actually a direct correlation. I looked this up. There's not a direct correlation to interest rates decreasing and home values increasing, but there is definitely a correlation. And when interest rates decrease, affordability increases, and that gets more buyers off of the fence, and they go start looking at homes, and that's how we get a competitive situation where it then turns back to a seller's market where there's not a lot of inventory and there's quite a few buyers, and buyers are competing with one another to get into the house. So all in all, this is definitely an interesting market. And I have some sellers who are asking like, well, Chris, obviously it's not a good time to sell. My neighbor, they've been doing price drops like crazy. And I always come back to that basic formula, right? Did they price it well? Does it show well? Those are our two biggest things. And like, even let's say that you weren't able to get your full list price, but you needed to buy something, you could probably make up for that on the purchase side and get the house you want, no longer live in the house you don't want to live in anymore, get the house you want at a discount. So the fact that you sold your house for less but you bought the next house at a great deal, they kind of just wash out. So honestly, just an interesting market. I bought my townhouse last year thinking that we would be out of this cycle by now, and we're not. I'm still happy with my purchase, definitely. Interest rates are, my interest rate is better than what they are currently. And I was looking for a very particular type of townhouse in a very particular neighborhood. So I just kind of had to jump on it. But when the interest rates come down, buyers get off the fence, start acting on it, we're going to start seeing a competitive situation again, and we'll most likely start seeing sale prices rise, which will ultimately kind of cancel out the interest savings in terms of like monthly payment. Because you're buying it for more, yeah, your interest rate is less, but you're buying it for more, kind of equals out. So I don't know, food for thought, guys. I just did a house hacking seminar not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and it was just great to kind of recount my history with real estate. And when I bought my house back in 2016, I looked at like the Zillow history, right? And it had like increased 50% in value over the last 5 years. And I'm like, oh my God, this house is so expensive. Well, there's a house, similar model, same neighborhood, pretty much it actually is the exact same model, maybe a little bit better upgraded. And that house just sold for $550,000. So 250 grand more than when I bought my house 9 years ago. So it just goes to show you, I guess, that yes, the prices seem scary and you want home prices to crash, but chances are they're not going to. And I really believe it, at least here in northern Colorado, you are so much better off owning a home, especially now buying a house, than not. The only time that's not true is like this very small window right now where people bought in COVID, overpaid for the house, and then they have to move for whatever reason, and home prices have actually gone down since then, so they're losing money. So that's one scenario where it didn't work out for them, but if they were to hold that house and give it time to get that home value back up because they overpaid for the house, so they basically lost appreciation immediately. If they were to wait, they would see that home price rise. They would get the debt pay down. I'm a big fan of house hacking. Get a friend in there, rent a room, increase your monthly income essentially, and pay down that mortgage, free up some money for yourself, and just kind of ride it out. That's why I've been doing it for 9 years, and it was being house poor was literally the best thing I've ever done. Completely changed my financial picture. But anyway, guys, that's all I got. Try to do these more frequently. I do enjoy them. It's just kind of hard to get in front of the camera sometimes. I blame myself for being busy, but the reality is I just get nervous in front of the camera. So hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you soon, hopefully before 3 months.